What is happening YouTube? I've got a super exciting real life story at a project that I'm super grateful and super blessed to be involved in. And it's also just a really great lesson on how we can take properties and create real value add. But there's rules to value add. And I've got a good friend of mine and business partner who I'm super honored to call my friend, Josh McCallen.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hello guys.
Say hi,
Welcome
Josh.
to Renault.
Yeah. This is the Renault Winery. Josh, tell us a little bit about what we've got here, and then we're going to talk about how you created a phenomenal value add program here that I want to tell you guys, the principles Josh is going to outline here for us can be applied to any project. Any value add. Doesn't have to be a rehab of a 150-year-old winery. It could be any deal you guys are doing. If you guys apply Josh's principles, you will be successful in value add. So first, Josh, where are we? And tell us about what we got here, right? What's behind me here?
It's good working with a pro. This guy, you might as well be a TV producer. So we are at, just between us, many of you know us because Matt and I have been doing events here for years now. And Renault is this really historic property from 1864. You and I love it because it has this branding of winery. But what Matt and I talked about from the day we found the project was, wait a second, this is a massive revenue generator if we do our right. So wine is cool, golf is interesting, but how about we just make tremendous amounts of revenue and then give that back to the investors? So there's a lot more here than just the word wine is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not just a winery, it's a resort. And there's a lot of different, and there's a full experience here. So, Josh and his team purchased this property, and we're so grateful to be involved in it and helping raise capital for this. And Josh at Accountable Equity has a lot of other good stuff going on. If you guys want to hear about like a lot of great alternative asset resort renovation projects, we will put a link to Josh's company in the show notes below so you guys can reach out to Josh and hear about investments in this project and other stuffs for accredited only investors. Tell us, in the renovation, the purchase and renovation of this property, what are the three keys to value add that could be applied to any types of real estate? That, I mean, again, this is applied to the renovation of a winery, hotel, golf course, resort space. But what are the principles?
Yeah, so sometimes we just kind of keep it simple for our own mind, and we say, what does Warren Buffett do when he looks at asset acquisition?
I want to know that.
He looks at value. He looks at distress situations, things that have intrinsic, like I said, value, but are maybe not in favor. So right now happens to be one of the best times in history for our business model, which is doing what Matt does in multifamily, we do in resorts. It's going to be the best buying season, perhaps in our lifetime, for hospitality over the next 18 months.
So number one, find a way.
Find a low price.
Find a way to get value. Let's call it like find a way to get value at a good price, right? So what was purchased here was a 150-year-old resort with a tremendous history to it, lots of acreage, a money-making golf course, a hotel, everything like that. But it just, if you guys are applying this to your business, buy something where you're buying a 150-unit building or a single-family home that's in a great location, whatever, that is at value. You're getting you've got to get some sort of a discount applied at the beginning at purchase. Now, Josh got a phenomenal discount on the purchase of this place, number one, because not that many people know how to run a resort. This guy does. And that's what makes him a phenomenal investor, because he's in such a unique space of real estate. And as they say, there's riches in the niches.
That's where we're at.
There's riches in the niches.
And and then of course, sadly, this distressed economy is ideal for acquisition. It's a funny thing we always forget. Warren says be greedy when others are fearful,
and be fearful when others are greedy.
Not greedy. And we all know
we've had a lot of that coming up.
Fearful. So
that's
in the right buying time.
So number one, get value on your buy. What's step number two?
So for us is Matt and I also love value add, which means things that are either in this industry we call it functional obsolescence. So this property had 120,000 square feet of space, and only about 13,000 square feet of it was being used to make money. And that's just because over the years they migrated from one space to the next, meaning this was a large manufacturing plant 80 years ago, meaning this was a major wine producer. And over the years, obviously, wine production became less profitable, so they moved to catering and food and beverage. But they never updated their spaces, so it wasn't calibrated right. Today, of the 120,000 square feet, only 10,000 is designated to wine. The rest, over 100,000 square feet, is designated all money making.
To revenue-generated activity.
So value add is great. We all love a pretty countertop, but it has to be correlated to proof that it'll change your revenue.
Yeah. So that's like buying an apartment complex that's got, it's a 100,000 square foot apartment complex, but 90% of it's common area.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
it's
too much common area.
It's just too much common area, too much space that's not generating revenue. And if you guys are looking at any deal, you've got to find a way to say, okay, well, if I replace those countertops, is it going to put dollars in my pocket? Every time you make an investment in a property, is it going to generate revenue? What's behind me at Renault, what right about where my finger is a full wedding hall that generates revenue for this site.
Mega amounts of
revenue. It was nothing before that didn't generate revenue.
This actually was called a wedding hall, but it had 2 windows and could seat 250 people, and it was oppressive. So it was functionally obsolete. It had the right idea and was not sellable.
Okay.
So we made that change.
So number 2, find the spots to add value. What is the third value add principle we want to bring here?
This is one that I hope most of you take an aha, and that is add a revenue stream. You and I can brainstorm for multifamily, because there are 2 that I can think of for multifamily. In our business, which is real estate basis, I mean, that's why we buy it, because it's real estate. But then we overlay our operational skills, and we just look for ways to add revenue streams.
Yeah.
For every new revenue stream that throws off profit, we exponentially change the value for the investors. Meaning, yes, it's nice to make $500,000 extra because we added a festival component. But what did that $500,000 do on a multiple when we go to get a debt refinance to pay you investors back?
Yeah.
It did an 8 times. It did 8 times what?
Because you apply the cap rate. It's forced appreciation.
It's called forced appreciation, and you can do it without time. Meaning, it doesn't take 6 years for that to happen. In my business, we can generate it in 1 year cycle of selling, right? Whatever it is we're selling.
Yeah, so add a revenue stream. Now this could apply to real estate guys. You could put a washer dryer in the basement of your multifamily. You could find other value add services that you want to offer tenants, like maybe storage on site or something like that. And of course, for a site like this, there's many other value add services that can be added for a resort space. There's a lot of different ways that people want to spend money or are excited to spend money at a place like this.
You nailed it. It is like that. And what if your lobby in a multifamily was too big and there was a disproportionate ratio? Perhaps you glom on some of the lobby to some luxurious condo units and perhaps charge more. So there's all kinds of ways. You've got to change the revenue mix.
Sorry to cut you off. A real thing in the lobby here, Josh put in a little store. We're developing a little spot for retail so folks can go and buy some of their essentials that they may need for themselves or whatever. And that's just a little value add service. Might make a certain amount of
30,000 profit a year from nothing.
Yeah, but
real estate was there.
The cap rate, the real estate was there. That's a small value add, and you just drop in revenue streams in your properties wherever you can. That maybe it's not just rent or your core revenue stream, but drop in multiple streams of income, and that's another way that you can guys do real value added properties. So great lessons, guys. I hope you guys take this to heart. Again, if you guys want to get in touch with Josh or hear more about this property or myself, you can either get a hold of us at DeRosaGroup.com and hear about our involvement in this project and some of the other hospitality projects are involved. But you could also reach direct out to Josh on his podcast called Capital Hacking.
That's true. Capital Hacking.
The Capital Hacking Show.
Same principles there.
Yep. Capital Hacking. I've been a guest on it. He's had other phenomenal guests, and he teaches a lot of the principles that he talked about today. And we'll put a link to Josh's website at accountableequity.com in the show notes.
By the way, you're welcome to come here. I think in a few weeks we actually, some VIPs, usually like Matt, we come, we gather, we brainstorm and mastermind for investors and potential investors.
We run a lot of events here. COVID or no COVID, there's a lot of ways that you can do business here, and they abide by COVID rules. So you don't have to wait for COVID to be over to get out and start participating in events like this.
Pan this? I know it's going to be hard for the families to see, but this is about 5 acres of outdoor restaurant.
Yeah.
See, so when COVID said, go ahead and 6 foot distance and do it outdoors.
270 acres, no problem.
Right. So it's a little bit of an unfair advantage. Most places have a 20-foot balcony or patio. We have a 5 acre outdoor garden. So we set it up with hundreds of tables at an 8 foot distance, not just the 6 foot requirement. So it's been amazing, the response.
And it's a really amazing site. Josh, thank you for joining us on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great and profitable week.